Yep.
Okay, alrighty. This is Lunenburg Water District Commissioners Meeting, May 24th, 2023. Please be advised, this meeting's being recorded for rebroadcast over Lunenburg Public Access. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. All right, we are circulating the minutes for May 10th. And we have warrants to review and sign. Well, we can work on those. And we'll go to number 3 for the Hickory Hills Pilot Study Update. Mr. Superintendent, it's all yours.
Okay, so as you guys are aware, the conservation pushed us to the next level for the RDA. We skipped that process. We went for the NOI, and we met with the engineers down there last week. They had their wetland specialists out there, and he was flagging all the wetlands, which is pretty clear. There's nothing kind of different on that. So all that was submitted on Monday. So the hearing is in 2 weeks. Was it June
7th.
11th? 7th?
I think it's the 7th.
Okay, so that'll be, that's the date of a hearing, so I'm sure it'll be a Zoom meeting, so if you guys
Yeah.
want to zip in on that. So the way this whole pilot test is going to work, we're going to have the 20,000 gallon tank beside the building. So we're going to...
Is that like a tanker truck body or just a standalone?
It looks like a dumpster.
Okay,
It's
copy.
an enclosed, it's a metal container.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna fill that container from the fire hydrant up front. So we're gonna have the valve closed up top so we don't feed the system. We're gonna turn the well on, flow the water from the hydrant into that tank. And we're gonna fill that tank at roughly 200 gallons a minute. So when the tank is full, we're gonna shut the well off. And then there's gonna be a garden hose line that goes in and feeds the pilot study equipment.
Copy.
So it's all gonna be tested. We're gonna discharge the water into the floor drain. Because there's a pit out behind the building. So when you discharge it, it's going to drain out, naturally flow out to the pit, and then discharge it to the groundwater. It's all clean, safe water.
So it's not going to be surface, it's going to go into a floor drain in the building that is
Leaches, it goes
like
like a leach
a...
pit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So everything's going to be on the ground. The leach pit may get overwhelmed because it's not made for continuous water flow. So it might get wet in that area, but it's all filtered through the dirt. Majority it's going to soak in through the soils. Perfect scenario. I mean, we did look at ways of we can move the tank to 100 feet from the wetlands, and then it got to the point where the hoses are still inside the conservation area. So it's like, let's just do the NOI and
Sure.
we got everything covered. So everything's moving ahead. So we'll do the hearing, see how that goes, and
Okay.
move on from there.
So we're originally looking at 200 gallons a minute we were going to discharge?
To waste, I think they weren't showing the numbers, 150 to 200.
150 to 200.
Yeah, so now we're gonna pump 200 into the tank.
And then discharge 10 gallons per
10
minute,
gallons a minute.
which is less than the average irrigation system
Yes.
into the ground per zone.
Yeah,
Not for a whole, because a whole system probably, per zone, they average about 10 to 12 gallons a minute. So, good.
Yep. So it's moving ahead.
That sounds good.
Are they gonna make a determination, do you think, at the conservation?
I honestly do not know anything about conservation stuff, so.
Yeah, I would think the NOI, and that's the next level, like if I agree with going to the NOI, because I believe the RDA, they could still push us to an NOI. The NOI is the top of the food chain as far as applications. So, you know, it just, if the possibility is there to push us to an NOI, then we're just headed there, right, we're doing it right away, which is
Yeah,
the
we didn't want,
right way to do
we
it.
didn't want to delay it.
And we can't kick this down the road. This is way too important to just keep kicking the PFAS stuff down the road. Okay, so from that, they get a DEP number, I think, and then after that, it's like a go, if they approve it?
I asked, I'm like, what do we got for timing? She says, well, it could be a little delayed because it all needs to go through DEP. That was Anna, the conservation agent. So I don't really know what the process is or how long that'll take through the DEP process, but she did say it could take.
Well, it goes through them and they issue a number. Once they issue a number, they've reviewed it, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's all as fast, and we've already been talking with, the engineers have already been talking with DEP about this, so it shouldn't be, it should hopefully be a pretty quick process. Alrighty, any more on that, or?
No, not on the pilot study.
Okay.
No.
No?
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to accept the minutes of May 10th?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 10th.
John, do you want to second that?
Sure, I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Those
I would
are
also like to make a motion to, we don't have to do that.
Nope.
no motion on warrants.
It's just so fun.
We're just signing.
He just likes making
You
motions.
just want to be heard.
Okay, moving right along. Commissioners, superintendent, clerk, treasurer additions. So we'll start over here again.
Mass Ave water main, the funding.
Yep.
So I've been working with Unibank. They are our fiscal financial advisor. So we're trying to get the process going so that when we can get ready for bids, we are good to go. So he gave me 3 hypotheticals. We're gonna go for the temporary borrowing for this year, hopefully, to get the project going. Then his question was, once we do go out for that bond for the 2.3 million,
Yeah.
if that, whatever it is.
Yep.
So he gave me 3 hypotheticals of what kind of bond we want to look at, a 10, a 15, or a 20 year. So he said that would be the next step to decide once we get through the temporary borrowing. So the timeline we're looking at right now is to put together a draft of the bid sheet in end of June, to release the bid sheet a week later, and then the first week in July actually
That's
go
10
out
years.
to get
We do it for 10.
the bids for the temporary borrowing. And then hopefully then by beginning of July, the board meeting, July 12th, I should have all the numbers. You guys can vote and say, yep, we're good to go. And then hopefully we'll have been out, hopefully, out to bid.
Okay.
And we'll have our numbers and we'll be able to say, okay, we're out to bid, so-and-so is doing the Mass Ave water main project. I'm trying to get it so that everything somewhat flows together. We
So-
go to bid, we have funding.
So you say this is temporary
That goes
funding?
for
Yep, so
24.
basically, it's kind of the same way we did this place.
Yeah.
10 years.
We go through,
10 years, yep.
we say roughly $2.3 million, we're gonna pull money as the project goes.
Okay.
As we get our recs in, we're gonna pull money, we're gonna
Understood.
pay it, and then once the job's
It's
done,
complete.
we say, okay, it came in at $2 million.
Okay.
This is what
That's a
we're
50.
actually gonna go for the bond for.
Okay.
For whatever our full amount of temporary
then that-
borrowing is gonna be.
And that'll change these depending.
Slightly, yes, that's
Depending
the
upon
full
what we-
amount,
yes,
that's
yep.
the full amount, but
This is for 10 year.
Yep.
Yeah. So these give us our options, and then we have to kind of look at what we have for loans
Yeah.
that are due now, when they're coming due, and what
yeah,
kind of
that's what I
funds we'll
I
have
shoulda had
available.
that, Yep.
And that will determine, which one of these is kind of the best options for
Okay.
us. So we have currently, we still have the Keating's well.
Yep.
We have
We
1 year.
still have the.
One of
and
them
we-
goes
and-
off this year,
And
right?
then we have the
Sunny Hill
building,
Road tank.
the Sunny Hill Road tank, Keating's well, and the building here.
No, the Sunny Hill water main job.
The Sunny Hill.
That was 2 separate projects. So one was 75,000 and one was 50. So we have 125,000 we want to just move over, which, those are a little more, so the rest would have to come out of the budget. We want to run this by you, but we always had the opinion that we were gonna do a separate line item on the bill
Yeah, I've been kinda thinking
for
that,
this project.
yeah.
Well, I wanna look at all the options, what's the best way we can fund it? Do we already,
But
do
yeah,
we
so
have funding coming available from what we're already paying out? Or are we gonna look at this as a separate item, and if we did this, and then when it's paid for, which is not a bad thing. We have to figure that out. Now, would we need a district vote to do it that way?
To do it what way?
Well, we have the vote to do the water main project, to borrow the money. I think it's on the board
Yeah,
to
we've
decide on
already-
how we
Okay.
review.
Yeah,
how-
no, I think
we-
I think we're good. The only thing you guys had to vote on, or vote, was just to approve. So if I have, say, 5 banks call me, they say, I'm gonna give you this much for this percent, blah, 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 I'm gonna present that to you, and you guys award it. And then from there, we'll do our borrowing. Then when it comes to the bond, then you guys would just vote and say, all right, this is what we want, a 15-year bond, 20-year bond,
And
from
then-
so-and-so.
Okay. Yeah, because I know they do some projects with when they do them for the town, they basically add it to the tax rolls, and when
Yes.
it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I kind of liked that because unfortunately the way things are going with, expenses still up, not having to raise the rates just to meet just the maintenance
Yeah.
side of it.
And
I
we-
think this would be a great thing. For me, I like it. I like it on the bottom of your bill being able to say, okay, the Mass Ave water main replacement, it says it from 2024 to
Yeah.
2044. I'm paying exactly, $25 a quarter for that. Something that I just think it might be
for a second.
easier for people, so. But we can get to that when it comes time, but.
Yeah, so this is a good starting point, we just need to kind of look
Yeah,
at
so
all the
he
different
just
information.
asked if you guys could kind of roll through some of those numbers, and I don't know.
I think the best way, we can roll through the numbers, but what we need to do is if we're gonna do a bill to the takers.
Yep,
That we should have, what would that be per taker per quarter?
yeah, we started
So
pulling
we
some of
can
those
start to
numbers.
talk to,
Okay.
get a feel from the public on, do we wanna get this thing done? Or do we
Right.
wanna stretch this thing out?
Yeah, I know, because look at
And then
the,
that's
How
up
much time do
to,
we have? Because I can figure that out in a few minutes, it's within the 2,500 customers.
yeah, I think we did it hypothetically, right?
Yeah.
Looking at some of the numbers.
Yeah, I know we
Because
did a
it's-
quick one,
Because
yeah.
it kills me, looking at the 20-year, the interest from 10 to 20 years, the interest
Is
is
it
like.
10, 20? I thought it was
10, 15, 20.
10, 15, 20?
So to
Yeah.
look at the interest that you pay is like, oh man.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, the interest changes in each one of these too.
Well,
It's all
how-
dependent
it's
on
all-
your time.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
time that you
That's how
have the
it's built.
loans, the.
Yeah.
I
right.
mean, obviously a 10-year.
So do we need to decide on?
No, this was something I
2.25.
I didn't get an
3.
exact date when he has to know. I think he just wanted to give us these.
Long you keep
I
it.
don't know
more the
when we would
interest
have to. I'll check with
You said that was Unibank?
Unibank is our fiscal
Wait, which one's
financial
20?
advisor.
Yep.
Don't have one for 20.
And there's
15.
no
Roughly the.
grants or anything, no assistance or anything that we know of from Maine, because it's all going.
Everything's going. It's at the bottom of the list right now,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to look at what's closing out.
Okay.
That we will no longer have, and then adding this into it, and but, then we also have the treatment plant that,
Yeah, potential for a
Yeah.
lot of stuff coming up.
so.
Yeah. All right. Why don't I put a little bit more
20-year loan, $17.50 per customer,
per quarter?
per quarter.
Wow.
That's the increase.
That's for the what was it?
That's
20
not,
years.
So
that's not,
20.
it's not.
What about the 10
But
year?
it's
But
17 times 4?
Yep.
17,
What
20
was the
times
10-year?
4?
2.7.
Oh, I'm grabbing yours now.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
10-year
be drinking my coffee.
Yeah, I'm not like Woody.
What's mine? The 10-year is going to be less, but. And it's going to be for less.
27.
So $10 more for 10 years less.
So me thinking of things with
Yeah.
the loans being paid off, maybe we do a split thing. We do a 10-year
Yeah.
loan.
Just kind of-
We take
Oh,
over
yeah.
some of our budget
And then put
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
and you charge it half to the residents.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
something like that.
We're gonna have to find funding somewhere for things as they come up.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's gonna happen in the next,
And there's
5
plenty-
years
plenty
plus
more
here.
water mains to fix, so.
that's the thing, we're aged out.
And that's a tough thing. If we do take it, I mean, you've got to look at it that way. You just said, what if we take half and half? But
Then that doesn't.
that doesn't lead, because there's no funding out there right now for water main projects, grants, that kind of stuff, where there
Right.
is for PFAS and all of the treatments and all that. So if we eventually need to do these other projects, we should keep that, my advice, the funds available in our budget, and then roll the loans into, this is loan payments this is, you know, hey,
gotcha.
we'll take this money and we're gonna keep pulling this money, and then next year we'll have this money saved up and we'll do this project.
So maybe on that line of stuff, when we do the treatment plant at Lancaster Ave, the water main on Lancaster near Rolling Acres, that's a transite line that needs to be replaced. So maybe we tie that to that project.
That would be good, because
the
PFAS would put it up there, and we tie
It's too
this.
small, so it makes it difficult to pump the water. It's only 8-inch line.
Oh,
Typical
yeah.
maintenance from the wells is 12. So we would upgrade it to a 12-inch line, so that we could tie that to that
Yep.
for, more financial, more efficient operations.
How many feet are in there? That-
Lancaster, it's probably 3,000.
And it goes up the hill and, yeah, I could see that being,
It goes from, starts at the very top of the hill in Lancaster, goes past Lancaster, past Lonely Acres to Whiting Street. And we've over the last few years, we've had a few main breaks there, and they lose a ton of water.
Yeah.
well, I think that our approach to this should just maybe do like a more scenario based. Like
Sure.
if we did this and with the increase of the cut, just
Sure.
maybe a couple of different options.
And we'll try to get a feel.
Right, and then
Yeah.
We
we'll
got,
have
we
to
can talk
kinda-
to, I'm sure we'll get feedback from the public on
Yeah.
what it looks like, but if we need to have like the facts.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Then
Great.
we can, maybe audible as the other little things come up.
Yeah.
If we had just something a little,
Yep.
and then, I'd be very curious as to what the public's input on that is.
So while we're on Mass Ave, the Mass DOT did respond, because we're at the 25% on our permit. And they did ask a whole bunch of questions, mostly to the engineer, more specifics on the plan. The temporary crossings, what was the method of crossing the driveways, which the state plan requirements is that they must be in the driveway underneath, not over, so we'll have to cut driveways. So they want specifics on that. The distance from the roadway, then they have the flowable fill, so anywhere we cross the road will be flowable fill, which,
It's pretty common.
that's it, so we should anyway, yeah.
so we'll see, we'll see how things go, but, I mean, at least there's talk now, so hopefully it'll get
Yeah.
Thanks.
moving.
It just sat there.
So we are still waiting for them to actually go out to bid.
Yes, so once we got things moving and we know exactly what they wanna see, and then we can go to bid. And then, once the actual permit comes in, then we can do an addendum that this is tied to the bid. So one of the things that came up in the thing, they questioned the location of the sewer. So the sewer, it's actually on the road, but a lot of the stubs, you're supposed to lay the sewer underneath the water, so a lot of them, they lay the sewer over the water, so that's not really legal, but hopefully, we'll stick
Is it
around.
deep enough that we can put the new line over the sewer connections or no?
The new line will be, yes, so, but they have to go dig to get to the services and stuff, so we'll see how things, I don't think it's gonna be a huge issue, but
No,
we'll see how it goes, but it's moving ahead, that's.
we're not running new services to every
Yeah,
house?
we're running new,
Oh, yeah.
everything. Yeah, but when they go to the new service, they have to dig down to the depth of the old.
Correct.
The old.
So that's why we're gonna be crossing the road for the new services. We're gonna connect them.
Probably the ones crossing the road will pull,
Okay.
yeah.
That'll
Most people
save-
don't dig roads anymore.
No, you just pull, you take the old line, you pull a new
on the
line.
new one.
Yep.
Give it a yank.
Or you can mold it, directional drill, or.
That'll save us the
And they're all
flow.
on temporary, so that line's dead, so we
Yeah.
can do good. Yeah, typically nowadays, no one digs the crossings.
Hope it doesn't break.
Everything else?
I can either bring it up now or wait till old business. It's just the verge.
Why don't we wait till old business, where that's where it's at?
I got more, so.
Okay.
Alright, I'm
Well-
good, so.
Well, I just gonna start
It's
with her,
all-
so now we'll go to you.
Alright, so we finished the pump test of well number 2. Everything's stabilized. It was on day 5, it all stabilized, all computers watched the water levels and stuff. And we have not received the water quality results. That was what happened on the last pump test. After the long-term pump test, the water quality deteriorated with the manganese, most specifically. So we haven't got the results back. I did taste the water and stuff, and typically you could taste the iron and manganese. It tastes like you're chewing on a hunk of metal if there's a lot of iron. So it tasted okay to me, so my taste test said it's good.
That's a good way. Hey, let's just check this out.
We passed, we're good.
That's good.
But on that note, tied to the water levels at Lancaster, I mean, the water levels are very high down there. But so we did the test, 5 days, continuous pumping, 3 wells ran continuously. So when you shut the system down, so it's stabilized. That means the water coming in stabilized. So the water coming out was equal to what was coming in. So we stabilized, which was a good thing. And then after the test is done, you need to recharge back to 95% of where you started. So they have all logs. You started here. Well, we stopped here. And we have to wait. How long did it take to get back? So we were a week later, and we weren't 100%. We weren't at 95% yet. So it still was slow. My only point of making that, my reason for making that point is, I've said it for a long time now. Lancaster Avenue cannot run continuously long term. It does not have the recharge recovery quickly. So if we're in a dry period and we run those wells 24 hours a day, we can only do it for a certain amount of time, and the wells are going to drop down and they don't recharge back up. So you have to wait. And most people say, well, you can't just wait a day and have them come back. No, we're talking like a month. So you don't have a month. I mean, when you're in July or in August, you don't have the time to let that thing come back. So
That's if you're constantly, and with this test, you're constantly running it. So like today, how much do you run it like today? If you're gonna run that well today, how much would you run that well?
typical nowadays, it's 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
Typical.
But then
But you ran
and
it
then you
for
alternate.
24 hours straight, 5 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we're asking.
But when we do get into the summer months, that potential could be there that we have to do that much of a draw.
Yes.
Or
Or if Keating's goes
down,
offline.
Right.
we're really in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
So anyway, we'll see how the results come, and then that'll be a future. If we ever do the treatment plant, then that's when we probably put that well system in and tie it into the treatment plant. They did do PFAS sampling. Like I said, I don't know any results for anything
Okay.
yet.
Do you think you'll have those for the?
I expect them for today.
Cool.
And then on that note, mentioning the Keatings, I've been calling all the well cleaning crews to clean the Keatings well. I think we had talked previously about probably having to do a public bid, but the bidding laws say anything under 50,000, all I have to do is get 3 quotes. So I called all the well drilling guys, and they're sending me proposals on cleaning the well. On the note, with the Keating well going down, we're gonna have to wait till after November
To
because
clean
we
it.
can't take it down prior. And if it does go down, it'll probably be a few weeks to maybe a month.
How long to clean it if we were gonna clean it?
That few weeks a month. So they're
Oh, so
gonna,
it takes a month to clean it.
yep. So the whole way the whole process works is no, not necessarily just cleaning it. So they're gonna go and do a pump test on it. They're gonna rate it. They're gonna see the capacity, how much the drawdown is. They're gonna camera the well, and then they're gonna pull everything out. All the pumps, everything. They're gonna take it back to the shop and go through the whole thing, make sure everything's all in order, replace whatever's deteriorated, rusted, or whatever. And so they do a surging method. They put a disc in there in the well, and they just surge the water back and forth. And they also pump it. And they really agitate the screen area. And then they put in acids, phosphates. The acids cleans the screen, the phosphates loosen up everything, so everything dissolves and moves. And they do that that's pretty much a week of just doing that, pumping and surging. And then after that, they fix the pump, paint it up, put it back, redo all the packing and everything like that. So it takes them a little while to take the whole pump apart.
Now, how long ago did you do you know how you had the calcium, the hardness build up?
Yeah.
Do you do that annually still?
Every year. Yeah.
Okay, so that's still something that's
So
done.
when this well is offline to do this, we'll do that.
Okay.
So we'll coordinate together.
Yeah. Great. Anything else?
One more thing. The new truck.
Oh, that's
So we need to buy a 2-way radio for it. Do you guys, we currently all use VHF, the water district. Everybody else in town, even the DPW's
Switched over to
going to UHF. Do you want to do a dual band radio on that so that we can at least, if we need to talk to some
We
people?
consider it. I'm not a fan of the when we switched over to UHF on the fire, you got a lot more reach out of the VHF.
Oh, yeah.
I like the VHF, but,
They have one antenna, did the whole fire department.
Yeah,
One
did the
antenna.
whole time. Now they got like-
four, and they're adding a few more, so.
yeah.
So, but anyway, so do you want to do a dual band? It was $2,659 for a dual band radio. So you take it, you're probably saving $700 if you take off the UHF.
What do you recommend?
What do you think, Woody? I know you love spending money.
No. I think the VHS is fine. We all have cell phones. Let's face it. Come on. How often do you talk to another department on that radio?
Never.
We used to.
Oh.
We used to. When everybody's VHF, we all talk
Yeah.
to everybody.
Right.
And then the fire went UHF. And
I don't think it's necessary. That's just
okay.
you know.
That's why I was asking.
Unless you see a reason for it, I thought the change was licensing, why the other departments went to UHF. Was it licensing or
No,
no?
because these guys are. That's
I
like
think it was just Fitchburg was UHF.
That's a-
so I'll talk to Fitchburg.
yeah,
Okay.
that's an FAA approved channel for communications like that. So I don't.
Okay.
Cell
to go.
phone. Cell phone.
Well, I don't like cell phones.
What I will say, the radios are nice, because then I can hear, like, we have one that Lisa and I
Oh,
have.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if the guys are flushing or something, I
Sure.
can kind of hear what's going on, or breaks, any emergencies. It is nice to hear that, so the radios are nice.
I'd like using the radio
Yeah.
for that reason of absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the need to
No, not
have
with
everybody
other-
else's kind of chatter on there. You guys use it for your
Yeah.
day-to-day operations. If there's something,
Yeah.
coming up, that
Yep.
I just,
I agree.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear the fire.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
we put a crossband radio at the Chase Road tank.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Sure.
sure.
Actually, there's a police one up there too. Someone turned it off, and I could turn it back
Yeah.
on. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if some of the people in town know that they're on all of our tanks, and in some, is it on Pope and on Sunny Hill, and do they have something anywhere else?
The old fire and police radios were on Chase Road, Pope Road.
Yeah,
Now that they're off that, the equipment's still out there, but everything's off. You're on Sunny Hill Road tank and the Tower A Keatings.
yeah. So just so the people in town know that we don't charge for that or anything, that the police and fire have antennas on our structures.
And they communicate through our link system. So our microwave links that we use for
Yeah.
our SCADA system, that's also running the town radio system. So, and when we upgraded and put the tower here, we had to move the antenna from over there to over there just so we could hit the fire station, because the radio guy was asking if we could get something to get to the public safety building so they could talk directly to the radio system. So we switched our antenna. I mean, we do whatever we can to
Yep.
help. So,
No, that's great. Good.
That was it for me.
Did you bring up we're going to meet with the selectmen on the 6th?
Oh,
I think.
yeah.
I thought I saw it
Yep.
on their meeting last night, that they
Yes.
invited us to come on the 6th and
Yep.
review our request for ARPA funds.
Yep.
Okay? So we'll work together to come up with a description and go over that stuff with them.
Yeah, they have the full proposal, but it sounds like they wanted
Just a little more of
more
a breakdown.
information, a little bit more,
yeah.
so yeah, we'll absolutely put
So
something
you
together.
guys got all that ARPA, what the intent of the thing was? There was 3 phases of the project?
Yep,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Public education,
master
master
plan.
plan, and actually doing the pilot.
And
Yeah.
doing pilot for the other,
For the other sources.
the other
Yep.
sources, so.
Yes.
And we're gonna kind of describe what each one of those phases are, and we'll get some sort of, I'll work together with Christie, we'll get some together, and we'll get it out to
Put it
everybody.
to them, and then they can decide from there what they.
Yep,
Yep.
Feels best for the town.
yeah, it'd be really beneficial for everybody, I think, but let's see what happens.
Share that out.
Can I ask
Yep.
a question?
Yes,
Is the proposal available to the public?
we wrote a letter requesting ARPA funds from the town of Lunenburg, because we, as a
think she's-
district,
She's looking for
Also
this,
from the engineers?
from the engineers.
oh, yeah, yeah.
This?
Because.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
A great idea.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think the way Christie described it when I was here a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Sounded like a marvelous idea.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Yeah, you can, I can give them the one I got a copy of.
I was just actually
Yeah, I got
talking
writing
to
on
the
mine.
DEP today. I talked to them a lot, and we were talking about the need to educate everybody, not just water district people, but people with wells.
Yep.
PFAS.
Right,
I've
yep.
spent a a lot of time
Yeah.
in the last 18 months learning
Yeah,
about.
this is I believe it's a brief overview, but we're gonna try to, on the 6th, really have that broken out so everybody knows exactly, what this will do and why this is important to the community.
I think it's very important, and if you don't mind, I mean, I watched the selectmen hearing, they asked for public comment
Yep.
on these. If you don't mind,
I would love to hear
Oh,
from you.
come on
I
up
think-
on the 6th.
I think you've been to a lot of our, more than other residents. I know they
Right.
watch too, but I know you've come in and had conversations with us, so.
I think it's a
any-
great idea.
Yeah.
I did have one specific question. What are the plans for communicating this to the public? I know the water district people, you know, you have your takers, you're gonna send them out something with their bills and stuff. But what is your plan for?
Like the education part and
Yes,
everything?
yes,
I mean,
how do you
I,
notify people.
me,
That's kind of what the engineers, they're gonna put together some sort of a public education so that we can reach as many people as possible.
but my goal is to go.
It says one in there. It says,
Public education.
flyers to everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my goal is to hit the front page of the Lunenburg Ledger, to go to the selectmen's, to go to every board, to even do a flyer through the post office that goes out to every resident in the town of Lunenburg, you know what I mean? So it won't be just an internal thing where I'm gonna shoot out to just the residents.
Yeah.
Our intent is to hit everybody in town.
That's a great
So-
idea. I mean, and I know that the post office does have programs where they can actually print the postcard for you.
And just mail to everyone in town, yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, right.
Yeah,
But we also-
Something about a public.
I think we also plan to have public hearings.
informational pamphlet that summarizes the facts,
Yep.
the
I think
pamphlet.
this is an absolute wonderful.
Yeah, but we still need,
Yeah.
we've learned a lot on it, but there's still stuff that I think everybody could learn from it. And I think that this public education piece is very important to everybody in the public.
And how much are you asking for of the ARPA?
Total 485,000.
And how much is left?
Oh, I
They
don't
have-
$3
know.
million or something?
I just watched.
No,
Did they allocate some?
Yes,
they
they
didn't,
did.
they
have.
talked about giving $1 million to parks. And they went through the list of all the requests, and they kind of ranked them whether they wanted to consider them, not consider them. So, and this is where they're at, is they want to meet with each individual department or committee that requested the money to review why we're requesting the money, and then they make a decision from there, and there's still a little bit over whether the funds are considered spent once they earmark them, or
Understood.
unless they have to be spent physically, so they were working on some of that data.
Has any
So
of
they
that
should
been
know more of that by the
spent
6th.
The notes, yes. The notes that I had was that they got around, I could be mistaken,
Sure.
but the little notes that I took was around $3.2 million that they were discussing.
They had
Of
spent,
applications
Yeah.
that they got. They had already allocated money for the park and for a truck.
I think, a couple
For a couple
DPW
DPW
truck
things.
for the fire.
So basically, they said at the beginning of the meeting, when they were talking about some of this, these are the notes I had, they had around 2.28 million available. In that meeting, they all agreed that they wanted to spend 60,000 for a consultant for the ARPA funding to help them
They have to have.
do their
They have to have-
bookkeeping,
yeah.
they're figuring everything out. That they gave the park and rec $1 million. They were asking for, I believe, 2 million.
Is this for the Marshall Park?
Yeah.
I believe so. And then they had also allocated 50,000 for an athletic field. And then everything else, you know, they had nixed a couple of things already, like they went through and said, yes, no, we want more information. So what I had was that they allocated that day 1.1, so if my numbers were kind of correct, they have a little over $1 million left.
Yeah.
So they already appropriated $1 million for
Park
parks?
and rec.
I believe I don't know, I think they might have voted on it. I think they did.
I did, yeah, because at the meeting last night, the woman from Park and Rec was there, and she had
Yep.
said, thank you for
Yep.
So they.
voting on it, I
so-
believe, so.
So they think that the parks are a real important thing.
Well, no, so the idea, well, I don't want to say no, but I think the idea behind the ARPA funding is to fund something that we might not normally either be able to or don't have the funds allotted to. And there's some discussion back and forth. Some people agree that it should go for that type of expense, yet they're using it for capital expenses, and some people disagree with that. They're using it for capital expenses for vehicles that they're not gonna see for 2 years. So I don't know how that works, because if you have to spend the money, but you're not gonna see the vehicle for
Right,
2
for 2
years,
years, yeah.
then you can't really use ARPA if you have to actually spend the money,
I think
unless
that's
you
kind of why
appropriate.
they were
That's-
having
so
that
there's a
consultant to
there's a
guide
whole
them.
lot of back and forth, so.
The idea
I-
is
yeah.
to use this money for something that's not normally that would come out of a budget.
Yeah.
And that's, you know.
And from what Heather had told me when I emailed her, it was something to somewhat benefit the entire
Right,
town.
correct.
So.
Right, and
you know,
the,
that's-
and the reason we're asking is because we aren't entitled to ARPA funds.
Right.
We
I know
were,
that was
we were told
questioned by the select.
if we needed ARPA funds,
We need to
we
request.
needed to request them from the town.
Correct.
Because there's
were never offered to us.
there's nothing for
We
districts.
can't, yeah, you can't. According to the US
Correct.
Treasury,
Correct,
we could not apply for it. We have to be a sub-recipient of the town that we're in.
right.
I see they're cleaning up Kelly's gas station, is that
Yep.
any of that money?
No, I think,
No,
I
I
thought
think
that
that
was
was part of
already,
theirs.
that was already done.
Paid for by the EPA. I was just talking.
Oh, nice.
to Adam about it today.
Great,
What's the extent up there, do you know?
They're taking the tanks out, they're gonna clean up the soil. They had a release of something related to gasoline, MTBE, I don't know what it was, but the cleanup is not gonna be beyond what was anticipated, and the EPA is paying for it. The buildings are staying, and what they're gonna do is it's basically, it's gonna be a flip. They're gonna try and redo the building and then resell it for offices or whatever. I was looking for, you know, a nice restaurant or, you know, or something like that.
I don't know, I'm kind of partial, I don't know if this would work, but I like the community farm stand idea, where you would take all of the smaller farms in town and give them a facility and see if they could sell their goods from there versus, because I think when they do the farmer's market in the center of town, it's awesome.
Yeah.
If you could do that on more of a daily basis, and, you know, there are so many small farms in town that if they could all get together, but it's a big undertaking, and I'm not a farmer. I'm not a farmer, but I know a couple.
Sound like someone wants to
But I don't know, you would know if that's a,
I think it's a great idea.
anyway, okay, we're kinda getting off.
Yeah, we're off track.
Okay.
All right.
Water stuff.
Okay, so yes, on the 6th, we're gonna come up with,
Proposal to.
More information.
basically more information. We'll filter it to you gentlemen, and then we'll all get up there, and we're gonna have to post a meeting for that.
Do I have to if they're not
I would just,
talking?
Yeah, I mean,
we're all gonna be together, so I'd probably put.
yeah, you can't vote, you can't.
Yeah, they're not
We
gonna
can't
vote on
vote.
anything, so it still needs to be posted that we're gonna
But
be
they
there.
still, when they meet with when they meet with other committees, and if they have more members, they normally post a meeting when they
It
meet
doesn't
with the
hurt to
FinCom and
post
stuff, so
Okay.
we might as well just post it.
People will know.
Yeah. And if we post it, and people, you know, maybe
Look on ours,
they
yeah.
look at our meeting agendas more than the selectmen's, and maybe they'll
Good
know
thinking.
what's going on.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we had that.
Okay.
Do we have anything else from any of the commissioners?
I don't have anything.
You're good?
Still haven't heard from the state, you said, I believe, on 2A.
No,
Yeah,
no, we did.
We did, it's in
Really?
All their
process.
comments, they had a whole bunch of questions and.
What do you want to tape for you?
Yeah,
It went to, the engineers need to answer the questions, so.
Okay.
And it was just, you know, more specific detail.
You'll have to speak up a little louder, and I'll get it.
and I
Drifted on me, John.
so we have a new employee that's gonna be starting, Matthew, I can't say his last.
LeBeau.
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 And I'd like to welcome him. He is coming from DPW, but it is more in his wheelhouse of what he wants to do. You know, the fact, I believe he currently has, Lunenburg needs a distribution 2 license and a treatment 1 license for our water operators. He currently has his distribution 1, has scheduled his test for his T1, and has taken the class for the D2. So, really an added value because normally we're talking 3 to 5 years for anybody to get up to speed. Within 6 months, he could be a fully licensed operator for us. From what I understand, he's excited about coming over here. He really likes water in general. It's an enhancement to the job that he currently did. He's gonna do some of the same stuff. He might run a backhoe or a truck for us, but he's gonna be capable of so much more through having his licensing. And I think he's gonna be a better asset to the community as a whole. So I'd like to
Starts
welcome him.
Tuesday.
Yeah. When I talked to a bunch of the guys over there about him, and when he originally even took the DPW job, he wanted to take this job first. But,
He gave us a resume,
you know,
we just
but
weren't
we just
hiring
weren't
at the
hiring
time.
at the time. So
Yep.
for him to move over here, I think it's a good move for him, and I think that.
Well, yeah, the qualifications he's got,
Yeah.
I mean, are not gonna do him any good at the.
Yep.
at the
So I think
highway.
as a whole, he's gonna be able to contribute more to the community through doing waterworks and doing the heavy equipment operating. So
Yep.
I'd like to welcome him on board. So, okay, old business. Oh, no, wait a minute. Public comment.
Well, mostly I just was here to ask about the.
Can we just get your name for the
Oh,
public?
sorry. Sharon Jordan, 77 Burridge Street.
Thank you.
I just wanted to voice my support for the PFAS education campaign and make sure it was okay with you guys for me to attend on the 6th and speak in favor of it. I also just am here to hear about anything's happened on 110 Burridge, because it is theirs, old business.
Yep.
And my third public comment is a request. Is it possible for the water district to Zoom your meetings? Everybody else in town uses Zoom, and it seems like it's here to stay. And it's very helpful for people to know what's going on and stay more involved.
Let me give you my opinion first.
Oh,
I don't, and I can't use it that way, but it's hard to get to the meetings.
No, I'm gonna give you my honest opinion. I don't know anything about Zoom. I don't own a computer. And from what I've seen, I'm 100% against it.
I will say as the clerk, I can definitely look into it. It'd be something I believe from looking into it, like for my kids for school and all that stuff. I think we'd have to purchase an upgrade for it to be able to use the same link, to be able to have everything under our name and be able to go longer than, I think, a half hour's free. So we'd have to purchase something for that, which is easily done. But I guess it'd be a little, I guess I'd have to look into it a little bit, because it's trying to have conversations with these guys, take my minutes, and I'm the only one, so I'd be sitting here with a Zoom laptop. At least with the selectmen and all them, they have somebody in their, back room that runs all of that kind of stuff.
I think
it's
Heather runs it on her own.
Does she?
I
I mean, I can
You know what, that
certainly-
would,
Other commissions do, like the Conservation Commission.
They do theirs, yeah.
That's all.
It's basically-
I know.
I'm sorry, I've attended Zoom meetings, and I wouldn't want to try to have to host one.
I
I
can
feel,
certainly look
yeah.
into it. I understand where you're coming from, that
I don't think you get the personal touch.
you don't, but
I-
I understand that there are gonna be people who can't.
Yeah,
But it's difficult for people to
Yeah.
have meetings in person all the time. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, for some people, afternoon meetings like this are a particular problem. For
Well,
other people,
yeah,
evenings
sure.
are a particular.
I mean, I personally am not in favor, just because I really like the one-on-one interactions that you have. I think you get a lot more honest feedback out of people. And I mean, these are rebroadcasted. Anybody that has any questions, this is obviously welcome to come to any meeting or email us. If that's easier for them, they always can email and be like, I have a concern about X, Y, and Z, and we can definitely bring it up in a meeting.
Yeah.
And would gladly do so. So I don't want the public ever to feel like they're, I understand we all
Yeah,
have
we do
busy,
get that.
busy schedules and stuff like that. We feel that this is the best time for this meeting for us, for our employees. But we have moved them on public request. We're all about the public input. By all means.
Kind of after the fact basis, sometimes
Yeah.
things come up at a meeting that you're like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, not all the time, and believe me, Mr. Esposito, I hated having meetings on Zoom when I worked. because you miss all the nuances of
Yes.
how
Yeah.
people are looking at
Yeah.
each other and, who's fiddling
Yeah.
around with what. I completely agree with that, but I also feel that it's a technology thing. It dragged me kicking and screaming, even from my cell phone. I'm still not very good at it. Every time somebody calls, the chances that I'm gonna hang up on them are, I mean, I'm not good at it.
Plus, how could we go without having you here looking, talking to us like
Would you want to do this on Zoom?
Yeah.
I would.
I'm not a huge fan, but
Yeah.
it's the way that things are going, and it does make it easier for people to, I think, participate.
Curious, how would a Zoom work with the full board? Typically, when you do a Zoom, it's on individual people.
I know,
So
that's-
we have a camera that.
So the way the selectmen work is they have, I believe they have, when we watched it last
Yeah.
night, they had a public access. There was a host,
Yep.
and each board member really had nothing to do with it unless they weren't present. So Selectman Franco was away, he Zoomed in. I don't know how it,
Well, I think that's what we're
You know.
trying to say is what do I do? How do I
you would,
purchase a camera to have one camera linked to you guys so that everybody can see that?
So we're all still gonna be in this room? We're just gonna...
Well,
Yes, no, we wouldn't go Zoom, we would just have the option, so I would have the laptop here, so that's the thing, if I have a laptop here and I'm logged in as the water district, they're not going to see you guys the way the selectmen do, we don't have the camera like the public access
well,
TV.
that's the thing, so it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
And like when you go to a conservation meeting, you don't go and sit in the room anymore and talk to people and lay the plan out and talk
Yeah.
about it. Everything's
You should.
all electronic.
Yes, you should be going to that.
Well, you,
They gotta end up. I mean, I understand the Zoom, because for the people can't access me, but they should be there at that meeting. You should be sitting in front of the whole board.
Yeah.
So conservation meetings are entirely.
Zoom.
entirely Zoom.
So
Yeah,
how do you look at the plans?
you don't.
Yeah, you don't.
You have to have them, all have to be
Have to be
electronic.
And there's no, I believe there is no reason for conservation to be on Zoom.
All right. We're,
When I go to a conservation...
sidetracking again.
Once again, we're
But
digressing.
yes,
we're going-
I would say,
You know what?
input,
Right,
Mr.
you're
Gordon.
right.
And
Yeah.
we will definitely look into that. And
Yeah.
once again, as
What
far as
works
the
for
public
others
goes-
may not work for us as well, and,
But we are always welcome to public input, whether it be
Yeah.
any way or shape. You can snail mail us. We're still good.
yes,
I'll just walk over.
You can walk over and say.
yeah.
To answer your other question, and to follow up with old business, the 110 Bird Street, I did hear back from KP, and they said they are all set to call the special meeting, except that, and I did convey to the H2 Properties that the request that they originally sent was very vague.
Yep.
That they need to send us a new request.
It needed to be a new request that not only stated that it was a special meeting, not just a public hearing, but it also, it said in the vicinity of the 110 Burr Street. I said, you need to have exact, where exactly are you asking the district boundaries to go? So, other than that, I haven't heard from them. I called them, what's today, Wednesday, last week, I think it was. H2 Properties, and told him that, and he said, okay, we'll put it together. And I did convey to him that our residents have spoken to us about wanting more information. I haven't seen or heard anything from that, so I'm guessing by next meeting, they probably will have some kind of request for it. And I will try to get an answer when he sends it. As far as I know, the residents have asked to postpone it in order to get information. So I will ask them ahead of time, when are you looking to have the meeting, and are you planning on having
Sure.
to come here and talk to the residents before the vote? So,
So on the meeting, if he's okay with extending it out, that's okay. But I think the state law says we have to call that meeting within a specific amount of time.
That's what I was curious.
So, but I understand that we have to do that, but that's once he resends.
yes, it hasn't started
It
yet.
has that
He has
clock
not
has
actually
started ticking
sent.
yet.
Yeah, no ticking it. right?
No. He hasn't
Understood.
because I told him, the legal counsel looked at it and
Yeah.
said,
Yes.
he has the right to actually
So
submit this to you
until-
now, he's done the steps.
Correct.
But the actual wording of everything is too,
Yeah, the
clock is not
it's
ticking.
very exact.
Nope.
He hasn't sent the new request.
Yes.
That is a new proper request to the district yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and then did KP tell us a time frame we have to call a meeting once we get the proper request?
think so. I can check with them.
I would really like to know that.
Sure.
Especially because there's a question of how everybody else in the town is going to be informed about this. And
Yep.
that the town manager is aware that the project like this has implications beyond the water district, and she needs to be kept in the loop about this.
Yeah, I'll ask, I know we had an email going back and forth, I should have printed it, the one from KP. I don't think he answered timeline in it.
And we don't have a process now if somebody comes for an expansion of the district, do we notify anybody, not notify anybody? How do we do that?
Well,
Like,
Of
as
special
far as like
meetings?
planning boards, other than, do we ever notify the town that somebody's looking for an expansion of the district?
No.
Just not official, I mean,
Okay.
like the town.
We're not
manager, I mean,
required, I know we're not required, but it might just,
Yeah, the town manager, I mean, I shoot her emails and stuff, I think
Okay.
she does that, you know, hey, you know.
so then she's aware and she can shoot things out to the boards that,
Yeah, we can do that,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
Once received notice, how long?
Yeah, so we'll have to check, but I think it's like 10 days you have to call the meeting.
You have to post when it's.
Yes, so you.
Should be in our bylaws.
Meeting is called, yes, it's not in our bylaws, it's the state.
State, oh, okay.
Our acts of 1939 typically say the specifics. And it doesn't happen very often, that's why I don't remember it, but.
I'd love to know, I mean, I have a copy of the act. I need a magnifying glass. I mean, it's the original print, but I
Yep.
saw nothing in there that
Nothing
actually.
about that?
That actually
It-
specified what the process is when somebody asks for an extension.
So, but when you go into the state laws, so the act is specific to the water district.
Yep.
But it ties to all the state laws, the Mass General laws, so everything in there, so you probably have to go into there, calling a special meeting and stuff like that. So there's all the different sections. So if it isn't in the act, then you gotta look at one of those.
So would it be possible to ask the attorneys to point us into the right direction to find exactly what this process is?
When
Well, I
we
can,
ask,
I will find out.
we know
I'll
the
call-
process, we
yeah.
just don't know the timeline.
Yeah.
yeah, so when they respond, they
Yeah.
will typically say, well, the state law and the
Yeah, they-
Mass General law, section 42, whatever.
Yeah.
They will say,
Their
it says you need to do
references.
this.
Yep.
So once you ask and they give a specific answer, usually it's a pretty detailed, and then once we knew that, we can give.
Yeah, we can share that. Once
Yep.
we get an answer, we'll send it your way, just for your.
Okay.
I have a feeling without any more information from the applicant, there's not gonna be a lot of support to expand the district, but who knows, it's all up to the residents in that area and the takers of the district.
Yep.
Whoever comes to vote.
But it's not, but see, I'm not a taker, and I'm a member of the district,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But you still have a vote, because you're a member of the
How
district.
am I gonna know? See, that's one of
Oh, yeah.
How are you gonna inform me that the special meeting is taking place?
Well, we have to,
I mean, just as an example.
We're gonna
Yeah, we
have
have
them at this. We'll probably, I'm sure that normally the selectmen are in tune, and like Fran says, he'll normally notify the town manager, and they'll normally make a statement at their public comment by their members. We have to advertise it in the Ledger. We also posted at Town Hall, we posted at Whale and Variety, and
Facebook, website.
Facebook. So there's numerous ways that we reach out to the public, so those would be the ways that, you know, we would have to tell people, and
I mean, unfortunately, like, even if you were a water taker, I don't send anything in the bills.
So how would you notify the takers that the special meeting is taking place?
Everything that he just
Newspaper.
told you.
But see,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah,
those
I don't,
things-
we don't send something out to the water takers, you know what I mean? Like, I don't actually, us, it's more, you have to advertise it. So it's more, like he just said, Facebook,
A
town hall.
public notice.
A public notice
Public
is
notice
what's
is right.
required. So so you're not missing any specific mailings as far as advertising for special meetings, just because you aren't a water taker.
Okay.
And
So
we're,
let's make a point to get the ledger in here, that we'll get,
Okay.
what's it, Paul?
I'm sure that there'll probably be, I think
He's done some
I think they've
stories on
talked
it,
about
hasn't he?
doing an article on it, so we'll, on top of us probably putting a notification in, they'll probably
Yeah,
do an
maybe.
article on it where we can maybe try to explain it a little more than the public posting. So that'll perk the
That would be
interest.
helpful. I mean,
Yep.
because the whole advertising concept, and that's a great term, that's exactly what this is, really puts the onus on the residents right? I mean,
But it does for everything in town.
Yeah.
All of your conservation, all of your ZBA hearings, like I have to go to tonight, your selectmen's
Yeah.
meetings, you know, all of those, they're all notified to the public the exact same way.
advertising.
Yeah, and that's all that's required by law, and I mean, we try to do as much as we can to inform the public. Okay.
Storm's coming.
Plus, word in town travels really fast.
Yeah,
That one's open too, do you want me to?
Which one is?
it's not too bad, it's just windy, we're gonna have a little bit of
Yeah.
weather. All right,
Thank you so
any more
much.
questions? No, great. So we covered that, we covered everything. Anybody else got anything? I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
All you gotta do is say so moved. Thank
Well,
you, have a
I
good night.
wanted the attention too, like.
Right, no,